Wednesday, the 22nd of November. Welcome to Business Morning. We're still live to you from Abuja, Nigeria's political capital. I am Bosun Omofayo. We welcome our viewers here in Nigeria and around the world. Let's spend the next 1 hour together. Of course, we're now done with the Central Bank Monetary Policy Committee meetings for 2017. Yesterday, the final considerations and decisions of the MPC, the Central Bank decided to keep its hawkish stance throughout 2017. Now, we're done with those monetary policy focus as far as the FX market is concerned. Unless anything unusual happens between now and December the 31st, the Central Bank will keep its fingers crossed until 2018, watching both international and local environment for risks to what its outlook will be on interest rate direction for the new year. So let's get the final word as it is. Now we're wrapping up the year from the monetary policy side of things with a set of analysts who will be discussing from today all through to December the monetary policy focus and actions so far in 2017 and what the outlook is likely will be in 2018. Let's start this round of conversation. The first final word from Ayodeji Ebo, who is the managing director at Afrinvest Securities, is live to us from our studios in Lagos, the headquarters of Channels Television. Ayodeji, good morning. It's good to have you on the program.
Good morning, Brasin. Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you. So we're done with the monetary policy round for 2017, unless anything unusual happens in the next 5 weeks. The Central Bank will keep its fingers crossed for the year. Now, give us 1 or 2 minutes to recap what you think the highlights of the monetary policy cycle for 2017 was like.
Yes, thanks for that. We've seen for the major part of the MPC meeting for this year, we've seen in terms of based on expectation, the MPR has been held stable at the 14% for the year. You've also seen in terms of the CRR at 22.5%, that's the cash reserve ratio, also the liquidity ratio at 30%. What the CBN, the decision of the CBN aligns with our expectation, because when you see the current situation within the economy, we'll see stability within the FX market, it will be too early for the CBN even to alter the equilibrium. Some stability, we've even seen some of the gains that have been recorded within the economy, though there's still a lot to be done within that area. But it's going to be challenging for the CBN towards the end of the year to just alter that equilibrium. So either bringing down the MPR by whatever, even if it's 25 basis points, will alter a lot of things, signals to the foreign portfolio investors, and also a further tightening in terms of may also affect growth, though we've not seen significant correlation between the MPR as well as the lending rate, so may not necessarily translate into increased lending. So for us, I think the hawkish stance of the CBN, I think it's what I think should hold for now.
But again, Ayodeji, if you look at where we started the year from, the Central Bank sounded more hawkish, more tightening at the beginning of the year, but it looks like the last two policy committee meetings seems to be softening gradually if you take the MPC communique, and if you listen to Godwin Emefiele speak at 1 or 2 other fora, he seems to be more comfortable with the FX market. He seems very comfortable with the foreign exchange, foreign reserves position, the our current account balance, our balance of trade, and a few things like that. Do you think this softening we've seen in the last, since the half of the year, is a signal of where we're going in the new year?
Yes, we see it's a signal that maybe the MPC may, in the first quarter of 2018, may reduce the MPR. But when you do your proper analysis, most times it will not translate to increased lending. What leads to increased lending is when banks see opportunities within the economy where they can either support or complement efforts of the government, where policies that have been set in place that will attract investment into a particular sector. We saw during the privatization of the power sector, though there's still a lot of complexity within that area, banks were, when you see the amount of lending that went into that sector during that time. So it's something like that that would drive lending to the economy, to the SMEs. As long as when you look at the risk environment, power is still not very stable in terms of infrastructure deficit is still existing. So you would see that there will be nothing to attract the banks to lend into that particular space. Bring NPL to 10%. Would that translate into increased lending? I don't think so. It will translate into increased lending. Though we may want to say the high interest rate in terms of the fixed income instrument is also disincentivizing banks to also lend. I feel that even if interest rate within the treasury bills market also instrument comes down, lending will not translate into significant lending into the private sector or into the economy if some major things are not taken care of.
Okay, a very direct question. How would you rate monetary policy, policies and actions all through 2017? We're done, as it were. What's your take on what the last 12 months that we've traveled?
I think it is more of a reactionary than being anticipatory. We've seen what has happened. The CBN most time sit back to study and see how the direction of things before it takes its decision. But would expect that maybe going into 2018, the CBN should take some bold step. Yeah, I know they need to synchronize with the fiscal policy, but also trying to take that initiative ahead and based on the expectation. Like next year, we know election is also approaching. What are some of those policies that can come in place ahead? There will be increased spending, even by the government. A lot of contracts will be awarded for capital projects as we approach 2018. What will the CBN be doing in terms of trying to also check liquidity within the system? Is it still through the normal OMO auction mop-ups that CBN will still continue? What will they really be doing? How will they curtail the liquidity that may be channeled into FX, which may also pressure FX in 2018? So those are some of those things that I feel the CBN should also try to focus more on now, rather than stay back and see the direction of things before they react.